Welcome to Mindful Minutes with 01 Mindfulness. February is a month of celebration of bonds and relationship. We at 01 Mindfulness are doing a series on relationship, a very interesting series, a relationship with food. The relationship with food is being done with the celebrity chef Gautam Mehrishi. Our celebrity chef Gautam is a man of many talents, but his relationship with food is all of 25 years. Gautam comes from a family which was in the army, and it gave him a chance to travel all across the country and experience and learn different cuisines, which has worked very well for him. He is a celebrity TV host of two programs, Kitchen Magic and Chef on Wheels are his two celebrated television programs which you must have all seen. I will call him a global chef. Gentleman is global but with an Indian touch.
Well, thank you, Mr. Valecha, for inviting me on this platform and contributing my take as a chef on how my relationship with food has been, how my passion, how my love, how my creativity has all created my own self and has helped me develop myself not only as a person but also as a chef and also as a person who's mindful about food. That's why this series, One Mindful, which talks about a lot of meaningful things which have been done in creating a mindful life. And this series, especially in February, which talks about mindful relationship with food.
It is said the craving for food is a cephalic experience. We eat through our eyes. The first thought of food craving comes from our mind. The rest follows. Food plays a very important role in our lives. When we are happy, we celebrate with food. When we are sad, we celebrate with food. So food plays an important role both in physical and our emotional quotient. We begin our session with a question to you, Gautam. When did your romance with food begin? And did you do it through a culinary school? Did you learn your craft through a culinary school, Gautam?
Yeah, so my passion for food began from childhood, I guess. And I never decided that I had to become a chef. It was always naturally there, being from a foodie family and being from a family who was too much into very diverse heartland food of India. And as my father was in the army, we were traveling around the north to the south, to the east, to the west belts of India, and seeing so much food everywhere, seeing the festivals, the culture. It actually kind of inclined me and drove me in becoming a chef. And yes, education is definitely necessary. So I did my 3 years diploma as culinary education from the IHMs in Pusa. And when I entered the industry, my first step towards a place in the hotel was definitely the kitchen. So it became a worship place initially, and today also it's a worship place. Yeah.
Fantastic. So the kitchen is your temple.
Yeah, it is. It's a mindful temple now.
Mindful temple.
It is.
Good one.
Yeah.
There are many health coaches, nationally and internationally, talking about mindful eating. What is your perspective on it, Gautam?
I think coaches are doing a great job in telling people who are dedicated to one sport, because that's the kind of ability the body requires. And not only the body, the mind also plays a very big role. When you are into a particular sport, say you are into swimming or into some sort of athletic, or maybe even playing chess or a board game, mindfulness plays a very big role. And that comes from the energy source that you have, which is your belly. And all the energy comes from the food. So if you have the wrong food, or if you have the wrong attitude towards eating whatever you are eating, and you have the negative relation with the food that you are consuming, it gives you negative energy, and eventually ends up in giving you negative energy for your scope of work, which could be sport, which could be anything. It could be business, it could be traveling, it could be even cooking. So yes, having the right food, having the right relationship with food is definitely a very big thing as an individual. So I would always want to advocate people who want to build relationships with food that start monitoring your negative towards the food. So it could be, having a guilt. It could be having something which you really don't like and making a face about it when you're having it. So keep these negatives out of your mind, out of your frame, out of your focus always. Bring in your positive relationships as we do in work, as we do in a normal relationship, maybe in the home, at the workplace. So we have a positive relationship with our parents, with our kids, with our wife, with our friends. Treat food as your relative. Do not treat food as something which is foreign to you or something which is only essential to you. Treat that maybe as your son, maybe as your daughter, and just think about food. The perspective about food will change and your relation with food will start developing. It's going to take time. It is constant. I can get angry with my wife today and I can also love her tomorrow. But yes, both things are important to balance it out. So for me, when you talk about food, talk to your food, understand your food, understand your requirement of food, understand the timing of your food. Eat when you're hungry. Do not eat with a clock, which tells you eat every 2 hours. So maybe it is essential for your body and it is essential for your coach to tell you to eat every 2 hours. But for me, when your body and mind tells you eat this, go and eat it. Go and enjoy it. And do not cut your diet. Whatever you love, whatever you like, balance it out in such a way that you are eating at least one good ingredient 5 times a day. So if you have 5 meals, sorry to interrupt you on this, if you have 5 good meals, make 5 very, very relationship friendly ingredients to yourself. So suppose I have orange, I have sugar, I have banana, I have potato, and I have say rice. These are my 5 best friends in my food. So I should try and include all these 5 every day into my diet, into say 5 different meals or 3 different meals that I have. And these friends will help other food materials or ingredients becoming my friends. And they will definitely help in bringing my mind to that positive, mindful state. That's what I think about food.
So important takeaway,
Yeah.
Food is energy.
It is, definitely. The biggest source of energy. Like we have sun, which gives energy to plants so that they can do osmosis and exo and endo osmosis. Similarly, for our body, the sun, the source of energy, is definitely the food that we put in our energy source. It is our hard drive. Whatever files we feed in, the output will be the same.
In the last 5 years, we've seen a rise of food aggregators, a trend that was not existing before. Is food aggregation good for business, or it spoils the fine dining experience that the customer looks out for?
So probably what happens is you cannot go out every day. Yeah. So for going out, you need an occasion. You need to get ready. You need to get family, friends, and sometimes it's even more expensive to go out. Yeah, but yes, if you plan to go out, you have a destination in mind, or if you have an occasion in mind, it's different. But suddenly when you go home from work and it's like 10 p.m. in the night and the family wants to have a nice dinner and you're not in the mood to go out. So there's positive and there's negative both. For them, they want to go out. But ultimately, it's not only the food, it's also the experience. So, but you can combine the experience and the food by, say, watching a movie, or watching a family album, or reading out a story to your kids, and then involving food in that. Yeah, and so it also helps us in the fact that we create platforms and we create food which can go to people's home. So earlier 5-star hotels was only people coming to 5-star hotels and fancy restaurants. But right now, for me as a positive, the hotels and the restaurants have an opportunity to go door to door and give that experience in their own houses. That's why we see that packaging, food packaging, I'm talking, food labeling, the artistry in food packaging has gone way beyond what it was 10 years, 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
It's very attractive, very beautiful. There are a lot of takeaways. There are a lot of stories built on those packagings. So I think for me, OTTs is a good platform. It's similarly like you had cable TV. Before that, you had the government channel. Then came the cable TV. And then came the web series part of it.
So it's a stage of evolution.
It definitely is a stage of evolution, yes. And it's going to evolve further. Now I think with the pandemic, people have become more wary of hygiene practices, not going out often. But this is definitely an occasion for people to call friends, family to their home or to visit somebody's home, and then food becomes the central part. And so that nobody, especially the housewife, is not burdened with cooking. so the OTT helps. And you have apps and you have so many discounts, so many offers, and it's so user friendly. All the apps which are available, and you can choose and you can combine, you can pre-order, you can do so many different things. So it's helpful actually.
So it somehow enhances the experience.
It does.
In totality.
It does, yes. And there are several OTTs who also do kind of outdoors in your house. So they will set up a nice table, give you a nice theme, like Valentine is approaching now. So they'll give you a nice Valentine balloon, candle, nice setup, and two people can sit and have a nice Valentine dinner at their own home, or maybe in their balcony, which you would have never imagined without an OTT.
Fantastic. During the pandemic, you have people who always had a desire or a hobby to cook. Now suddenly, after experimenting a few months in the pandemic, they have become digital chefs, digital coaches.
Yeah.
Is this a threat, or is there an opportunity for your relationship as a chef with the food?
I think it's definitely an opportunity, because for us also to give more recipes, more advices on these social media platforms, it becomes easy to connect with people. What happens is also they cook, they send pictures, they post videos, they'll ask you questions about how my food is looking. So now we have the opportunity to tell them how their food is looking. In fact, earlier it was they would critique how my food was looking. So it's now become balanced, very well balanced. That's one thing. I think the other thing is that, apart from cooking food, the best hobby that people had during the pandemic was washing utensils also. So they actually came to know the other side, the black coin of cooking at home. And so probably they started respecting the kitchen much more after this. And that's why they started getting into the kitchen. And it's not only cooking, but it's also getting you a relaxed mind. So some people get their minds relaxed by baking. Somebody will get, you can have a competition of the roundest roti made by everybody in the house. So you could have had those competitions, which was never there before. So pandemic, I think, has helped. It has also told people the value of food, because several days shops were shut. You had to live on ration, which was only there in the house. So you had to depend on pulses, on grains, on dry grocery. So that mindfulness towards your kitchen store, I think, grew much better than it was ever before, because we always took it for granted that you have a house wife or a housemaid who's always cooking and food is always available. You can ask for whatever you want. You can go out whenever you want. But suddenly all that came to an halt, and then you realize how the kitchen is the epicenter of the home. It's also the epicenter for energy. So if you have a nice breakfast cooked by the father, who used to always rush for work at 7 a.m. and kids were always longing for that breakfast except for Sunday with him. So I think every day became that Sunday. Every day became that day where people could enhance their relationships within the house, within the community, and sending photos made them actually proud about their own food. And we as chefs came to know, actually, for us, analysis and research was very important for us to know what people used to cook or what people like at home. So this was ready analysis and ready data for us to know what is being cooked at every home. So what we have to show, what we don't have to show in our future shows, we are now very crystal clear.
So homegrown digital husband chefs learned gratitude.
Yes.
Learned bonding.
Yes.
And learned the love of food.
Yes.
And they became very conscious and mindful.
Yes, and I think I can relate this to a story from Mahabharata, where Lord Krishna comes to Draupadi's house and asks for food, and there's nothing left in the dekchi, in the vessel, and she says there's only one grain of rice, and he says that is enough to feed me. So I think that kind of value of food is also being realized. So all those mythological stories which were built around food, and the importance of food, the value of grains, the value of farming, I think everything comes as a cycle back during this pandemic, as a teaching.
Very good. When you cook for so many people, it's quite a challenge to forecast so that the food is used to the last drop that you mentioned about. Last
bit of it. Yes.
Are there things being done mindfully by people who are in the food relationship chefs like you,
Yes.
the restaurateurs, the hotelers, are they mindful about the consumption of food to be in a manner that's
Mindful.
mindful?
Very good question, and this has been happening and this has been in question for a long time. This generally happens in larger banquets where people have weddings and they want hundreds of dishes flowing into their system and to impress people and to show them I had a grand buffet, the grandest of it all. And that used to account for some kind of food not being consumed, or I can put it negatively as wastage sometimes, But yes, as chefs, we have actually taken this responsibility for some time, and there are many initiatives that we run. There are also many NGOs in the city of Mumbai, and I'm sure all across India as well, who connect with us for this kind of food. Of course, this food is nothing which is lying on a chafing dish for a long time. We are also very mindful of that. We also encourage a lot of live counters. So what happens is live counters is that a lot of food is raw and it's cooked on site. But yes, whatever raw food or semi-cooked food is left, we keep it at controlled temperatures, controlled conditions in terms of temperature, in terms of rooms, and in terms of exposure. And this can be actually given to NGOs, cooked nicely, finished nicely, and so avoiding wastage, because definitely it's not going to be the same menu on the next day. It keeps changing. It's cyclic. So we kind of give it to NGOs. We sometimes invite, this definitely happens with bakery products as well. Bakeries and desserts. There's a lot of scope there. So we sometimes invite children from NGOs who can come over. We teach them with the same semi-processed food how to make breads or desserts or cakes or pastries, and then they can have the same. So for them, in its experience to get into a 5-star hotel kitchen, it's completely safe for them, and we take care of all the regulations, all the protocols, and they also get to taste the 5-star, real 5-star good food, which is not to be thrown, which is consumable at a price for any customer. So they get it for free, the experience, and it becomes a memory for them. And it's also society building in terms of getting them into equality. So it serves a circular global process.
I'm totally impressed by the thought and the act and the execution of it.
Yes.
You covered up what we've learned, inclusive spread of food.
Yes, it's like, when I was a kid, so my grandmother used to always say, if you have 2 leftover rotis, give it to the cow. Yeah, so you're not only feeding the cow, but she's actually teaching me as a kid not to waste food. So that's the thought behind it.
That's a takeaway.
So if she tells me that don't waste food, I will not, maybe as a kid, not take it positively or not get the learning from it. But in one action, she's teaching me 2 things. The importance of not wasting food. That's one thing. The other thing, how for us, animals and cows and every other part of the ecosystem is also important. 2 different takings.
Fantastic. They say food lifts your mood. Is it true?
I think it is definitely true. It's definitely true because, as we spoke in the beginning, food is a source of energy. Yeah. So, but we also see that we eat with our eyes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely we eat with our eyes. Definitely we get impressed by good-looking food. Definitely we get impressed by the way food comes to us, or if somebody is actually preparing a great meal for us. So the thought behind the food and the love behind the food that is being brought to us, it definitely lifts the mood of the guy or the girl or the child, whoever is eating and consuming the food, but it also lifts the food of the person who is actually cooking. And in the end, if you appreciate, it lifts the mood of the entire environment around you. So it's very important to appreciate food, to appreciate the moment, to appreciate the thought behind food. And then the entire cycle lifts up everything. It's like a bubble. So you create that bubble, it goes up in the air and spreads a lot of positive energy into the system.
So food and happiness is equal to each other.
I think yes. I think there should definitely be an edge hidden in food somewhere, which is the quotient for happiness.
What does love mean to you?
I think it's a small letter, but I think, in my opinion, I'll put it as no conditions. Love means no conditions at all, and if you love somebody, you love him or her for what that person is, not for what that person can be for you, or how that person can change for you, or how that person can perceive his or her personality for you. How it is, that's it. Finish. No conditions attached.
Very well said. Very well said. Now we'll get into a very interesting quick fire round. This is to test Gautam's relationship with food and his lips. How quickly is he able to answer the question will determine whether he's a celebrity chef of the tallest order. Are we ready? Okay, Gautam, are you ready?
I am absolutely ready, yes.
Favorite ingredient in your cooking?
Desi ghee.
Ingredient that you're most afraid of?
Nori sheet, the sushi sheet.
Hangover cure?
Lemon, I guess. Lemon water. But hot. Hot lemon water. Although I never get hangovers. But whoever will ask me for a hangover cure, I always give them lemon water.
You cook at hotel professionally.
Yes.
Do you also cook at home?
I knew that was about to come. So, for me, no, I don't cook at home because we are very used to, as chefs, standardized kitchen equipment, this, that. My wife tells me, this is not your hotel kitchen, go out, stay out. My pans and my gas range is mine. Will behave as I want, not as you want.
So, as always, wife is always right.
Yeah, wife has to be right. Yes. We are always on the left. And that's why we are left out.
Do you eat your fruits or drink your fruit?
I hate to drink juices. I always like to eat my fruit because you will eat the right quantity. You will never avoid the skin, and you will get 100% out of the fruit. It's like you cannot roam around in the sun with an umbrella. No? If you want shade from the sun, you will use an umbrella. So the juice is a shade from the sun. But I want the tan, I want the vitamin D, so I want the fruit as well.
Chocolate brownie or hot gulab jamun?
I think it's always gulab jamun, but with a chocolate ice cream spoon. That's a very weird combination, I know, but it's really great.
Okay. In the breakfast, paratha or avocado toast?
I think paratha, for sure. For sure. But yeah, you can have a slice of avocado on top of the paratha, that's alright.
What's your guilt food?
Well, I think guilt food is definitely the gulab jamun that we spoke of and the scoop of ice cream. But yes, I'm very fond of Indian sweets. So I have a sweet tooth, and so after every meal, I'm always looking here and there for one small bit of Indian food, which is sweet. So all mithais, especially the Bengali mithai, the cham cham and the sandesh, and I just cannot resist.
You come out as a tall winner for sure, with a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
But be mindful about your exercise.
Yes. So that's what I said in the beginning. Do not hate your food. Eat what you want, but yes, consume it very nicely and burn it in the positive fashion. That's about being mindful about what you eat.
Fantastic. That's. I would say that's a beautiful relationship that you've got with food. You've converted food, place of preparation, as a temple.
Yes.
Worship. You said food is energy.
It is.
Very beautiful. And food is therapy.
Yes, it is.
And food is keeping the bonding of the family together.
Yes.
So food and us have got a fantastic relationship.
Absolutely. It's like the earth and the sky. We are two ends. The sky is the food and probably earth is us. And sky gives us everything. It gives us light, it gives us atmosphere, which is air, and it gives us water as rain. So food gives us everything. And as the earth, we receive everything from it. And we get the best out of it. And we also take out the best out of it. That's what the relationship should be.
It was great talking to you, Gautam. You've been super informative, and be the rocking local chef that you are always. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Valecha.